Look up at the sky, ask it why are you all so afraid?
What is up, everyone? My name is Andrea. If you don't know me, you should subscribe because, like, why not? You should also hit the notification bell down below to be notified every time I upload a new video, as soon as I upload a new video. But anyway, today I'm going to be doing the Finally Fall book tag. I will link the creator of it if I can find them down below in the description box. You can check it out. The first person I saw do this tag this year is Brittany. Her channel is called Books with Brittany. I really love her. She does a lot of videos about fantasy books, and it's just right up my alley, so you should check her out. I will link that below as well. But there are 11 questions, so let's just go ahead and get right into these questions. The first one is number 1. In fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. I have a couple options for like all of these just because I couldn't pick only one, and I wanted to talk about some that maybe I've already mentioned, but some I might not have mentioned or read recently, stuff like that. So for this one, books that I think have a vivid setting, of course, I had to go with We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. This book, you probably heard me raving about it because I loved it so much and I gave it 5 stars. But the thing about this one is the plot is great, character is great, but the world building and the actual setting is something that I believe is very vivid, as this question says, and it's very rich. I like the fact that the author didn't just info dump. Everything is very weaved in and you just have to figure it out as you go along. Like, the words that they use are different. The world in this book is inspired by ancient Arabia, and so a lot of the words and the tones and everything that is used in here, you can really feel the Arabic culture, and like certain words that they use, I wouldn't know what they mean, but in the context of what the situations are and what's going on and what the characters are talking about, I can figure out what they're saying, and it's like, it's really cool how she weaves that in like that. I really appreciate it, way more than having to like just read a bunch of info dump, and I'm like, okay, I'd rather just figure it out and let it be natural than just getting all this dumped on me. So I thought that was so good. And then the map in here also makes it very easy to like figure out the setting, and I do love the maps in here. I actually understand them. Sometimes in fantasy books I'll see maps and I'm like, well, I don't know what this is. I still don't know where I'm at. But this one was very clear, so I really love this setting. Another one that I think has a very vivid setting is A Song of Wreaths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. I read this book a while back last year when it first came out, and I was really hyped for it, as I should, because this book is so good also. Like, I love this one so much and I can't wait for the next one. I was really sad when the date got pushed back, the release date, but you know, it's coming up in November for the sequel. But this one, I think this world is another one that's just very rich, and the details and everything and the way that the author presents it is something that makes it very vivid. Like, I think the way an author writes their world can be the difference between just a bland setting and a vivid setting, and Roseanne A. Brown really understood the assignment there. She really understood how to make her world pop, and like, we're just dragged into it. And once you read a book like this, like specifically for A Song of Wreaths and Ruin, right from the first chapter you're really sucked into this different world, and you're like, okay, I'm not in my world anymore, I'm not in a different fantasy world anymore, I am in this world. And that's something I appreciate so much, and I loved it so much, and I can't wait to be back with book 2. Like I said, I can't wait to be back in this world because I've missed it. Number 2 is Nature is Beautiful but Also Dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. For this one, I have 3 to show you guys. I know I've talked about them all, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about them again. First one I want to mention is An Emotion of Great Delight. It is the most recent one I read. It just came out in June, I believe. This one's by Tahereh Mafi. I love Tahereh Mafi. I love all of her books. But this one specifically, it's a little contemporary that deals with a lot of grief. Our main character's name is Shadi, and her brother dies, her father is dying, and she's just going through so much grief and loss, and it just doesn't even end there. I've said it before, I think this book is a slice of life, and it is the slice of Shadi's life that is the worst part of her entire existence. I think it's probably going to be the hardest times that she has to get through. So it's a book that you go into knowing you're gonna be upset, and it's called An Emotion of Great Delight, and it's not a great delight. It's a great book of loss and grief. But I think these books are really important, and dealing with a heavy topic, I feel like Tahereh Mafi did it well. I think she just writes really beautiful, and it connects to readers, and like, it connected to me. If you've never checked this one out and you're interested in it, definitely check out some trigger warnings. Like, some that are just off the bat is just like dealing with depression and dealing with suicide and things like that. Like, so this book is really heavy for a tiny like 200-page book. It's literally barely 200 pages. It is a lot, and it's just so much over and over, like constant. But if you can get through that, I think it's really important, and it's just done really well. Another one that I want to mention on this one is The Year After You by Nina Day Pass. This was actually one of the first books that I read this year, and I've kept it. I usually get rid of books that I know I'm not going to read again, but this one, I don't know if I will read it again. I just know that I liked everything that was in it. I liked this cover. I liked the way the author wrote it, and it was one of those contemporaries that has stuck with me until now. And this one does deal with loss as well, and then the grieving process after that. So our main character, her name is Kara, or Kara, however you want to say it. She is at a New Year's Eve party with her friend G, and G and her have to make a decision and to leave and drive, and G dies and Kara does not. So basically, Kara is in a bad place after that. She can't really get over it. We're seeing her deal with the repercussions of it. And so she ends up moving to a boarding school, I believe, or a different school. And there she finds some people that maybe can help her through her grief, because everything that she's tried before was not working. So this one I think was very important as well, and it handled it really good. And it was cool to be in Kara's mind and seeing her, the evolution of her grieving process, I guess, and to hope with her that she was going to get through it. So I really enjoyed that. And then one more that I have to deal with loss and grief, and then I promise we'll move on from the sad stuff. But that is The Ones We're Meant to Find. I feel like all three of these have a very somber tone to them. Like, you get into it and you just already know that not everything is happy and gonna be great. It's very somber. And this one, it just feels like that. It's a dystopian. It takes place in futuristic world where people have begun to build their cities up high into the sky because the earth and the ground and the water is all become very polluted. And so that, I think dystopians and that are just very somber anyway. But this one deals with two sisters. One goes missing and the other is trying to piece together what happened and where she is and everything. And their names are C and Casey, and it's told from two different point of views and two different timelines. So there's a lot of things interweaving here, but it does deal with grieving and loss because Casey did lose C, did lose her sister, and doesn't know where she is. So this one I thought went really well with this question, and I really love this book. It's by Joan Hay. If you have not checked this one out, you should definitely check it out. It was one of my favorite books I've read this year, and I'm really glad I picked it up. I usually kind of wait for new releases to read them later, but this one I picked it up as soon as it came out, and I was not disappointed. I really enjoyed it. 3 is fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. Listen, I could go and share with you guys all of the books I've been reading for college. I'm in my last semester of college. I am majoring in human resources management, so I'm getting my bachelor's in business. Somebody asked me that in a comment, so I thought maybe some other people might wonder, so that's what I am going to school for. But honestly, don't want to see my books. They're very boring. I have had to read nonfiction books on organizational change, business ethics, strategic management, strategic compensation, stuff like that. Not very interesting unless you are like a business major. But I'm not going to show you them because we don't need to see that. Other than those, I haven't got to read any nonfiction. I've been doing school all year. Like, by that I mean I usually don't take summer classes, but this year I did. So I went from the spring semester to summer semester to fall semester now, so I have not had a break from school, and that's enough nonfiction for me. I just don't have the brain capacity to read any more nonfiction outside of the ones I have to read for school, so I haven't. There are a few that I want to get to that I wish I had, and maybe next year when I'm done with school, I feel like I'll have so much more freedom to read what I want and not be worried that I need to be working on assignments or splitting up my time so much. So I want to get some more nonfictions. It's not because I don't want to or I have anything against them. It's just that the time and the brain power is not there right now. Okay, number 4 is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, friend group that you'd like to be a part of. For this one, it took me like 2 seconds to think of it because I already knew. I had reread Red Rising recently, all 3 of the original trilogy, and I just know that I want to be a part of the Howlers so much. The Howlers, like I said, are from the Red Rising saga, or whatever you want to call it, now that there's more than 3 books, by Pierce Brown, and I just think that the Howlers are a group of a found family, unlike any other, honestly. And if you haven't read Red Rising, it's really hard to explain the Howlers, but they are just the most cool and badass and scary group of friends, group of found family that you could ever find, and I just wish I was them so bad. I don't think I would be able to survive the induction ceremony to the Howlers to become a Howler, but you know what, I would die trying to do that. I would die trying to get a wolf cloak and be a part of the Howlers. I just don't think I could. If I'm being honest. I mean, anyone of my friends that if they knew what the Howlers were, they would be like, no, you're not gonna make it. You couldn't do it. I just know they wouldn't. And that's okay. I know. But honestly, if I was put in the circumstances that the characters in the Red Rising world were, I think I'd be a little bit more tough, and I think I could, you know, make it with the Howlers. I think maybe Severo would help me. He did try to help this other girl whenever she was like being like a sissy, and he was like trying to make her tough, and I feel like I would be that sissy, but he would like try to help me out and like get me like where I could be a Howler, and I feel like that could hopefully make me be one. I mean, obviously I want to be a shadow hunter because like I'm pretty sure I answered shadow hunter last year to this question, because who doesn't want to be a shadow hunter? I'm always down to be a shadow hunter. I know this question only asks for one, but I would also want to be a part of the Black Betty gang from Darkest Minds. I love them. I love Ruby and Chubbs and Liam and Zeus so much. I miss them. Oh my gosh. When it gets around the fall season, there's just books that I read in the fall that I want to read again, and Darkest Minds is one of them. But I love that group so much too. They're a great found family. Number 5 is the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall colored spines. I actually did pick out a few and I will show y'all. So here is the pile that I picked out. As you can see at the bottom, we have some golds that go into a maroonish red color, and then some browns and oranges. I feel like this is a really good fall pick. I don't know. King of Scars, very good color. You know King of Scars by Lee Bardugo. Realmbreaker, Victoria Aveyard. That book was a little bit disappointing, but I got over it and I want to keep it. I kind of liked it. This is, oh, I'm going to just show y'all because this one I think is really cool. So this is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. It is an Easton Press edition, so it's like one of my prized possessions. I have a couple Easton Press, and by a couple I think I only have Great Expectations and A Tale of Two Cities, so they're both by Charles Dickens. So when I found this one, I was like, yes please, like I have to have it. It's a little damaged because somebody had a nameplate in it, but I took it out. I got it, of course, secondhand from a bookstore. But this book was a little bit pricey, as it should. It is an Easton Press edition, so very special to me. And then I just had Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, The Elite by Kira Cass, and Frankenstein. So these all went really well. That is my fall pile. There you go. Okay, moving on to number 6. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. I had a great one for this one. I only have one picked out for this prompt, but that is Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. So this one is a brand new release, just came out. I'm literally still working on it. I'm barely like almost halfway. Been tabbing. It's been a wild journey so far. This one is all about a character named Gabriel de Leon. He is the last Silver Saint alive, and he has been imprisoned by the Cold Bloods, which are like full-blooded vampires. Basically, Gabriel is sentenced to die, but before he does, he needs to tell his life story to this Cold Blood. And throughout the whole book, we are being told Gabriel's story first person by him as he is telling it to the Cold Blood, which is very interesting. I think that writing it that way is really hard, and it's an interesting choice. Pretty much since most of the story is told in like a flashback in a sense, but it's told in the present because Gabriel is telling someone directly his past. So while we're talking about the past, it doesn't like go into like a new chapter or anything. It's like just right off the bat, okay, he's in the story, and it's all in quotations. Like every paragraph is in quotations, which is really hard to read, actually, surprisingly, just from a stylistic point, because you're like thinking somebody is talking. My lights just fell. Great. Like at times I was getting confused because I was like, okay, somebody's talking, but as he's telling the story, when he's actually talking about what other people are saying, it's in like one quote. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I'm sure some of you understand, but it's kind of hard to explain. Okay, so let me try to show you guys what I mean. So as you can see here, this is the beginning of a chapter, and it says, Grey Hands, Blade, blah, blah, blah. That's Gabriel talking, telling the Cold Blood his story. and there's no closing quotes because Gabriel is just talking this whole time. So when he talks to somebody else or when somebody else says something, they have to use like the single quote, and then it stops with like just one. It's very it's very confusing, and I feel like the editor had a hell of a job to do to make sure all of that was right. But when you get past that, the story is really cool because we're just being told Gabriel's story by him, first person, literally in the present. So that's pretty cool, and definitely if you want to hear somebody tell a story, this is a way to do it. This is literally him telling you a story, so I thought it fit this one really good. Okay, number 7 is The Nights Are Getting Darker, share a dark, creepy read. I have 2 for this one that I think fit very well. First one is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. If you haven't read Vicious, which I barely read it this year in the summer, which is like the wrong time to read Vicious. But if you've never read it and you're like me waiting, you should definitely pick it up. I really enjoyed Vicious. I think this is my favorite book by V.E. Schwab. It's one that I would actually consider keeping and getting more what am I trying to say? More editions of. That's what I'm trying to say. I would really consider getting more editions of this one just because I loved it that much and I think it was very well done. So basically in this book, there are 2 boys named Victor and Eli. They are roommates and they are also doing a research project for a class. Things take a really dark turn when they start experimenting with near-death experiences and what can happen from near-death experiences. So I'm gonna say it's really cool to go into this one not knowing anything, but I would definitely say check it out. And it's also very dark, like not even just in tone, which it is, it's also very creepy, not even just in tone. The things that the characters do to get near-death experiences is a lot. It's dark. It's a dark fantasy, so just know that going into it, but I loved it. Another one I want to mention that has a dark and creepy tone is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. You probably have heard of this one a lot. It is popular, as it should be. This one is a Romeo and Juliet retelling that takes place in Shanghai in the 1920s. I love this book so much, but the tones of it is not what I expected. I guess I should have for a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but it's very dark and there is this kind of disease thing going on around the town, and so it has a very monstrous feel, and that is just looming over everything that takes place in this book. So it's definitely a good one. I would say that somebody should pick up for spooky season, for fall, for the latter part of the year, because it just fits very well with that dark and creepy tone. Also, the sequel to this, Our Violin Ends, comes out in November, so I'm hoping that one is just as dark and creepy so that I can have a new replacement for this one for this fall season. Number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. If you're not new here, you know that we don't do heartwarming here. We don't read any bright books. It's just not what I like to read. I don't like the happy stuff. I want the dark and heavy and sad stuff that makes me think and makes me in turn upset. But no, I'm just kidding. I do read a little bit of happy things, but just not, generally not a lot. I had to scrounge for this one is what I'm saying, but I did find something. So one that I think could warm up your day is Bridgerton, The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. I think this book was really good. It's a historical romance, but I really liked it. And so if you want something that is going to brighten up your day, something you can get through on a cold and rainy day that will bring you, you know, some joy, probably try a romance. Like any romance, specifically historical romance maybe. They're short, you can get through them pretty quickly, and you know that the ending is going to be happy. But I just don't have any other romances that I would recommend, but I would recommend this one because I did like it, and it does have, you know, some great characters. I really think the main characters, Daphne and Simon, are really good. I did really love them, and also the supporting cast is really good too. But yeah, there's also some smut. It's pretty decent in here, so check it out. Number 9 is Fall Returns Every Year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. Had the perfect one because I've been thinking about this one nonstop. It's always on my mind. But that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I reread Six of Crows a few months ago, and I had intended to go straight into reading Crooked Kingdom as well, but then some books just like took over and I never got to Crooked Kingdom again. I have read this series like at least 3 times. I think this is my 4th reread, so you know, it's not like a it wasn't like a priority, but I do want to get to it because I'm not going to end this year only having read Six of Crows and not finishing out the duology. But you know, I think it's great that I've saved it for the fall season because this one is sad and I'm ready. I love it. And I did annotate and tab my Six of Crows copy, so I can't wait to do that with Crooked Kingdom because it needs to match my other one so that they will both be tabbed and highlighted. And I wrote in the other one like all over the pages, and I can't wait to do that with this one because there are some scenes in here that are my favorite scenes ever. There's also some scenes I'm dreading because I don't want to get to those parts. Also, just don't like when it's ending. I would love to be in this world. Ugh, talk about a vivid setting. This one can go for that question too. This setting, this world, Ketterdam, I just love to be there so much. So I can't wait to pick this one up in the fall, probably maybe in October. October is my birthday month, so I'm probably just gonna read a lot of books that make me happy. Also, I'm doing the trick-or-treat-a-thon that I'm co-hosting with some of my friends, so I'm gonna find a way to incorporate this one in there somehow because I need to get to it. Number 10, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. I would say that my favorite cozy reading accessories are my lights. Like, I like to read under them. Like, I will turn off all the lights and just sit here as close as I can to the light and read. And it's like barely enough light, but it just feels so great. And obviously, I mean, it is enough because I can still read and it doesn't hurt my eyes. So I love to do that. And I also bought this new chair pillow thing that is so cozy, but I've been using that to read. I'll put that on my bed and read, or I'll just put it against the bookshelf right here and just read right here. And also, like, you know, cozy pillows. Hot chocolate is something I love to make in a mug whenever it gets a little bit colder here, so probably not till December. And then I also have a lot of socks, like maybe like fuzzy socks, or I just have some that have spiders and pumpkins on them, and those are just my Halloween socks, but I wear them year round, but like they make me happy. So have that on, have my chair pillow, have these lights, some hot chocolate, I'm good to go. Number 11, and the last one, is to spread the autumn appreciation and tag some people. So I'm going to tag 2 people. Number 1, I'm going to tag Therese from Therese's Nook. I will link her channel down below. Therese, can't wait to see your answers for all of these. You should check her out. Love her. Also going to tag TB from TB Kane. His videos are also very awesome. You should check him out as well. We'll have it linked down below. Also love TB. Don't know who couldn't love TB. But yeah, I'm going to tag those 2 people, and I can't wait to watch both of y'all's videos. So that's pretty much all I think that I have to do. That was the last one for this tag. Thanks so much for sticking around and watching the entire video. If you've made it to the end, I will have my social media linked down below: Twitter, Instagram, Depop, all that stuff. Also, we'll have a couple ways you can help support the channel. I have my Amazon wishlist if you want to send me a book. I also have my Ko-fi linked if you want to donate or buy me a coffee. I really appreciate that, and it goes right back into my channel so I can make better videos for you guys with better quality, better content overall. But that's all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Forget about all types of things. You remind me of the Arizona thunder. Satisfy the times and make you wonder about the bigger picture in your life. The simple times in the Arizona